All right, peace and love, beautiful souls. High vibrations to you all. Tonight, I want to take this time to kind of go over an intro into the chakras. I'm a Reiki master. I've dealt with chakras and Reiki for a long time. It's very sacred to me. I've actually saved a life doing this practice. I have a testimonial for this on my website. I've done multiple Reiki sessions, long distance, in person. Um, I once did. Um, I once did 12 Reiki sessions in a day. Right. So this Reiki is a very sacred practice to me. Um, Learning the power of my energy and learning how my body works was one of the most dynamic things I could have done. It changed the scope on how I can, or kind of, I would say, illuminated myself. You know, how we come out of the shadows, per se. So, coming out of the shadows, doing that shadow work, it's almost like our witness, because at this point I done over 4,000 readings. I know there's some people on the call that have gotten readings from me. It may be some people on the calls who have gotten Reiki sessions from me. All right. So what I've learned is, beyond that wall that we can sometimes hit, when it comes to, as we're healing and as we're going through this whole journey back into ourself, the self-love journey. It's one thing once we're able to be aware of our problems and we can be mindful of them and we can name them, and now it's mama wounds, it's daddy wounds, it's some of your insecurities, your codependencies, it's you, right? It's a part of some things you gathered. You're able to identify with these things on a mental level, which is beautiful and divine. But how do we uproot that? Right? How do we because a lot of people want to let go of something. Can you ever let go of something that has happened? Because memory is real. Memory sits inside of the body, and it holds itself, and it wants to express itself. And we always talk about energy not dying and re-expressing itself and all that good shit, right? So where does that energy go? Right? How does our body end up with certain ailments? Right? How do we end up going through um what do we call the frustration, and then our body responds by the foods that we eat, by sometimes we don't eat when we're going through certain emotional things, you know what I mean? The cravings that we have, all these things begin to make sense. I read a book. It was the first book I've ever read on chakras, and actually it's the last book I've ever read on chakras, until I got into the Gitas and other things in the Eastern culture. But it was a book called Chakras for Beginners by David Pond. All right. And in that book, I started to see the correlation between habits of eating, habits of doing a lot of different things, right? That just opened up the door to let me know we don't just do anything by circumstance, Everything happens for a reason. Everything that we experience, everything that we do, it is a result of something. In that result, it has left us in a place to kind of be, I would say, wondering why do we do some of the things we do. This creates some compulsions. This creates some habitual habits. We like to say subconscious things. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's a lot of different reasons why just the chakras and the energy began to make sense. You know what I mean? So, and then when I even took this a little bit more further in understanding astrology and how all this is connected, and then when you're talking about music and harmonics, and so tonight I'll give you a kind of a foundation of what that looks like. Now I'll also be talking about my next course that is coming up, which will be Reiki Level 1. Now this is a glimpse off into that course per se. All right. Now tonight is just like a pre-phase. I mean, I'm gonna give y'all a lot tonight. There's a PDF, of course, that comes with it. You may have gotten a PDF. If you didn't, you will get it. For sure, you will get it with the replay. All right. But it's gonna be a short PDF. I'm not gonna have you out here long. But it's gonna be a lot of information within about an hour, hour and a half or so. All right. So I really want you all to kind of pay attention, and I want to answer some questions too. So I want it to be interactive. All right. I want to make sure that I interact with you all. If you feel something come up, if you have some questions, please feel free to ask any questions, because the course that I'm holding, Reiki Level 1, I teach Reiki on all three levels. All right, so my level 1 course is not like a lot of other level ones that you can go get. This is ain't a Udemy course. This is ain't, a lot of courses that a lot of people just take you through and give you all this intuitive stuff. I'm very big on giving you something that makes it all make sense. So my level one, as you will see as a glimpse into tonight, will show you it's all about the biochemical, the science of the body. There's a science to who we are, why we do what we do. Now, I didn't create this science. All right. Now, what I did was compile a lot of different things that began to make sense to me so I can make it all make sense to you. All right. So tonight, of course, once again, I want to answer any questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, because I want to make sure that you walk away with a better understanding of what your energy is. When you deal with the chakras, we're talking about our nervous system. You're going to learn about the memory of the body. That kind of deals with the memory body, the emotional body, the astral body. Our body is comprised of memory, right? You can ask somebody who's lost a limb, and they'll tell you that their body still acts as if the limb is still there, right? They have to remind themselves at times, especially when they first getting used to things. So when you're talking about the body and how dynamic it is a very powerful system. I want to give you a glimpse into that tonight. All right. So appreciate you all for being here. And let me go off into sharing my screen and get into this PDF. All right. Let the screenshot pop up here. It's taking forever. All right. Can y'all see my screen? Can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
All right, big. All right. Now, as you can see, first off, this is not typical seven chakra system that I teach from. All right. The system that I teach from was much more intricate than what we know in the Western culture as just the seven chakras, which also equates to the 7 days of the week. The number seven is very powerful, even throughout scripture, throughout biblical references. So, when you begin to understand that the number 114, when you break down each chakra into 16 different aspects, right? You got micro chakras, you got all different aspects. I kind of touch on those tonight, but the main thing is I want you to understand that you have more than seven chakras. The reason why the 114 chakras can't be measured, because this deals with the diameter or the distance between each planet and the sun, and this also deals with a lot of yoga. All right, you have 108 asanas or 108 yoga poses, which can sometimes equate to 112. Even on the mala beads, if you were to count mala beads, the prayer beads, there's 108 beads on mala beads. That 108 is very significant to the system of the human body and our connection to the planetary energies and how they influence us. All right. So this is not something that was just pulled out of a hat. In the Western culture, they'll consider a lot of this pseudoscience, but I guarantee by the time I'm done tonight, a lot of this will make sense to you. All right. So when you deal with the primary chakras, right? The seven primary centers is what they are. The word chakras means wheels. All right. Anime, a lot of different cartoons, they starting to talk about chakras now. A lot of children are aware of these. I'm gonna tell you, children, they love when I talk about chakras. They just love it. All right. So, of course, we have major chakras. These are the seven primary chakras. These are the ones that the energy vortex that align along the spine, right? Often associated with the rainbow color system in most Western teachings. So, its purpose to regulate life force energy, prana, right? Prana. If you look up the word piranha, now I know everybody on this call should be familiar with the word piranha. Reiki, right? Chakras are always connected to prana, the breath. One of the main reasons why I chose to teach this course right now is because we're in Gemini season, which rules the lungs. So we're dealing with the breath, which is information, right? And the breath is where we connect mind, body, and spirit. So some of the key words of dealing with the chakras are survival, pleasure, power, love, truth, intuition, transcendence. And that deals with the root, the sacral, the solar, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. All right. Now, when you deal with understanding these to help you unlock your core spiritual alignment, it's something powerful that you can do, especially when you get off into your birth chart, which I'll kind of touch off into that a little bit later on. But even within your birth chart, there's a certain reason why you have elements in your birth chart: earth, fire, wind, water. You may be familiar or more acclimatized to certain elements in your chart. You may be earth heavy, you may be fire heavy, you may be water heavy, you may have a nice blend of all, right? So this can tell you a lot about your energy centers and how they're affected by certain outside things, and also why you deal with certain blockages that you can deal with just based off your energy alone, based off your birthday alone. All right. Now, of course, when you talking about understanding these flow of energies, what this talks about, you've heard Bruce Lee. One of his most famous sayings was, "Be like water, my friend. Or water flows and it crashes." Right. So your emotions, 72% water. Right. So your emotions and the way they emote. Your emotions are energy centers, right? And this is going to show you how your emotions are connected to energy centers. Then you have the minor chakras. This equates to the 21 secondary chakras, right? These govern the limbs, the joints, the sensory connection to the to the crucial part, or crucial for our movement, our emotional, intuitive intelligence. All right. So you got the hands, the feet, the eyes, the shoulders, the thymus, etc. These are the organs that we can associate with the extremities, the things that allow our senses to activate. All right. Now we link these to the physical body and higher energy currents, right? So this is sound and all this good stuff. The way we use key words, right? Words create worlds. We use mantras, we use affirmations. All these senses, like the sensory system wants clarity, right? The senses, the mind, the logic, right? So the subtle hearing, the spiritual finesse, right? So that's how even the gift of gab, or you being able to use a certain word and not be bothered, right? Taking a even breathing and how it can bring more relaxation to the system. It can help you finesse through a lot of shit in this life. All right. So mastery is all about healing that ability and an interpersonal connection and being able to balance those energies at your will. All right. That's something that we've always knew how to do. But now we get into this Western culture. Of course, we get blocked by a lot of emotional trauma and shit like that. All right. So when you deal with the micro chakras and the 86 territory centers, these are precise nodal points across the body, often located in meridians, right? The fascia lines, right? You hear a lot of people later been talking about fascia, right? And these are the organ systems. So this regulates, because fascia holds a lot of plasma, right? Which holds a lot of water, all right? Which can hold a lot of sodium or salt, right? Which can also be withholding fat cells. All these things
Okay.
together can help conduct energy, and they can hold on to tension and energy. All right. So the fascia lines and the organ system, even to regulate that subtle neutral or that neural spiritual currents. You know how sometimes you get those downloads or your body gets an electrical impulse or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like all that comes into a play, especially when you're talking about your personal connection to the chakras and what that looks like. Now, the micro chakra is dealing with the 86 centers, right? Now, when you deal with these territory centers, it's kind of dealing with the toroidal field as well. All right. So these are precise nodal points across the body located in meridians, and also dealing with that fascia line of DNA, right? Activation, soul coding, astral memory, deep cellular healing, blockages shown as chronic pain, right? Epigenetic disorders. Epigenetics is now something they've been studying to prove that your environment can have an effect on your being, right? Who you are, your psychology, your mental, your emotional. All these things can equate to what they call epigenetics, right? How your environment can affect your chemistry. All right. So a lot of the ancestral memory, the deep cellular healing is going to be associated with this. Even coming with activating these chakras and upgrades the entire light body field. Even in the Bible, it says, "Be ye illuminated." You know what I mean? So illumination is what the chakras can show you or lead you to. So a lot of people talk illumination, but the chakras are your gateway into illumination. And as you can see, there's a meridian kind of diagram here to show you what a meridian points can kind of align. And you know, they teach a lot of this in even karate or martial arts, right? How to hit the certain points, the vital points of the body. All right. So you'll see even the Chaldean, or you'll see all the meridial points that deals with how circadian rhythm, why your body can feel out of alignment or feels more energetic in certain places, even why music and sound and tones can reinvigorate you. All right. So we'll kind of talk about that as well. Now, when you're dealing with the seven major chakras, right? Now, anybody got any questions about what I just went over? I know that wasn't a lot, but it still was a lot. But anybody got any questions about what I just went over before I get into this next part? All right. Now the seven major chakras dealing with the primary chakra, dealing with the base energy, and we got the 21 minor, the gateways. This for movement and flow and spiritual agility. The 86 micro chakras that's located in acupuncture meridians. So who was in here got an acupuncture before? All right. If you got an extra acupuncture before, just say I. All right.
I
All right. Cool, cool, cool. Now, in that acupuncture, did they precisely put those needles in certain places? Did they show you the chart when you got the acupuncture? Like, did they make you aware of why they stuck the needles where they stuck them? Is what I'm asking, basically. Did they show you any information about that or give you anything about that?
no.
Okay, because sometimes it's like somebody sharing a magician sharing their tricks, right? I just ask because sometimes some people educate people, and sometimes they be like, "Nah, they just said this was for this, and they were just sticking me here." All right, so this lets you know why acupuncture uses the meridians or the way they're able to stick you, and know why where they stick you, how it's going to affect you. All right. Now I'm telling you, this is how I teach the chakras. All right. So as you can see, this is just a very micro level of what we're talking about. Now we're talking about glands. All right, how certain points on your body can connect to glands. All right, now this also deals with your auroric field, the brain center, the pineal, the pituitary, right? Um, even the hippocampuses and all the glands in the brain. All right, these are glands in the brain. They're not just words. These glands govern neurological systems, and they help your body to function at an optimal level when it deals with the brain and the mental capacity. All right. Now, when you bring in this energy of your aura, all right, I give you a little bit of a little gem. When you able to, when your aura, because your aura can go up to 21 inches outside of your body, right? When you tap into, let's just say your third eye for one example, when your third eye is able to go up to 3 inches outside of your body, that can bring you a lot of mental clarity, right? The mind begins to kind of be more at ease. If you push this aura field out to about 6 inches, all right, you'll start to kind of tap into a field of receptivity that may even beyond what you might understand. All right. Now, it'll all start to make sense to you in this space. Now, if you start to push this third eye auroric field out about 9 inches, all right, you start to pick up on the thoughts of everybody. All right. Like you can pick up on other people's thoughts, especially people in your field, right? Your loved ones, people that you close to. Now, y'all might experience this on different levels. I'm just telling you where it happens. All right. Now, when you go into beyond the 9 inches, when you go into 12, 21 inches, things like this, now you tapping into auroric fields. Now you tapping into ethereal memory. If you can hold the third eye auroric field out about 21 inches, your crown chakra naturally opens up like a petal, like a flower. All right. So there's the energetic vibration that you can use, and this is even what you call chi. Remember, we talking about piranha here, right? This is also how you would see Bruce Lee do a 6 inch punch and knock somebody 6 feet back. You get what I mean? This is why in boxing, they teach you that energy is generated from the ground or the floor up. All right. So when you deal with the chakras even above the head, the earth chakra, right? The crown to the 12D, the earth star chakra. Y'all done heard a lot about these chakras, the soul star chakra. These are the stellar gateways. So they help you connect to galactic memory, Akashic records, and soul contracts. So imagine you being able to tap into every incarnation that you've ever had. Imagine you have the access to be able to remember any lifetime that you ever experienced in your entire existence in this cosmos, right? Now, what would you do with all that memory? you know? So when you talking about how even our chemical correspondences and how it goes into these major chakras and the planetary bodies and our chemical principles, because the root chakra, the Muladhara, deals with Saturn and also Earth, right? And this also deals with a lot of moon energy as well, which I kind of tap into that more so in the class. All right. So remember, this is a precursor into the class if you want to take the full course. All right. Now, when you deal with this Saturn energy, the bones, the blood, the adrenal glands, the blockages of dealing with survival and fear, financial instability, right? Even now, all this leads to sciatica. Who on the call got sciatica issues? Just put a one in the chat. Who on the call deals with constipation? All right. If you deal with constipation, put a three in the chat for me. All right. Now, if you're somebody that deals with lower back pain, just go ahead and put a two in the chat. All right. So I'm just telling you about how your root chakra could be blocked. Now, when you deal with the sacral chakra, now I want you to list. Now, y'all might. I'll be ready for your thumbs now, because I want you to keep putting these numbers each time that you are hear an ailment that you deal with. All right. So, all right. Let's just say when you bring in the aspects of the sacral chakra now. All right. The sacral chakra for you. All right. Now, the sacral chakra, the moon, Venus. Um, this is also dealing with water, the water element. All right. Now, I want y'all to pay attention, because when we deal with these elements, remember, I want y'all to remember how you astrologically, your birth chart. So I want you to think about if you're a water sign, a earth sign, all right, a fire sign. This is just speaking to your sun sign in general. I ain't even got into your entire chart yet. So the sacral chakra, the reproductive system, the kidneys, the bladder, shame, sexual trauma, emotional repression are some of the blockages, right? And the throat chakra is heavily connected to this, what I get into when I tap into the throat. But PMS, fertility issues, kidney infections, anything that deals with urinary tract infections, all that type of stuff. Even dealing with some yeast infections. All right, if you deal with any of that, if you feel free to put a one in the chat. All right. Now let's put a two in the chat for the sacred chakra. Put a two in the chat if you're dealing with sacred chakra issues. Now, when you deal with the solar plexus, the Maniputta, right? And now the sacral chakra is the Swadhisthana, right? So you deal with the Maniputta, the Mipita, right? So you deal with the planet Mars, the sun. You deal with fire. This is also going to deal with the stomach, the liver, and the pancreas. All right. Now, this is digestive issues, powerlessness, rage, guilt, ulcers, indigestion, diabetes. All right. Sugar addictions, like eating foods that give you that itis that just take away energy. You can't stop eating it. All right. Energy issues. You wake up tired, right? It's hard for you to find the willpower to do certain things. All right. All this deals with the solar plexus. If you deal with solar plexus issues, put a three in the chat for me. Now, the next chakra is the heart chakra. All right. Now, before I get into the next heart chakra, but I go into these first three. Anybody got any questions or anything y'all want to add, or any realizations about these first three chakras, real quick? I'm going deeper into them, but I know somebody may have just like, damn, I deal with that, or you might got a question about that, or whatever the case may be. If not, I'll keep going. All right. Now, go ahead. Who was that?
Oh, no, we're good.
All right, big. Now, when you deal with the heart chakra, the anahata, right? You're dealing with Venus, you're dealing with Earth. This also brings in the air element. This deals with the heart, the lungs, the thymus. All right. This can deal with grief, betrayal, abandonment. Right. So I know a lot of us have dealt with these emotional things, these emotional blockers, the way we express grief, the way we express betrayal, the way we express abandonment is going to lead to a feeling that's being expressed from an emotion. All right. Now, asthma. All black. I got asthma. I got asthma. We all got heart chakra issues around this motherfucker, okay? Even when we were playing, you want somebody to leave you alone. I got asthma. I got asthma. So heart disease. My mother died from heart disease. All right. I know she had a heavy heart. Immune deficiencies, right? This can also equate to definitely somebody eating a lot of sweet food and fatty foods. All right. So now this is the heart chakra. Now we get off into the throat chakra. This is going to deal with the Vidishuddhi, right? Now, when you deal with the Vidishuddhi, now the word anahata means unstruck. Now the Vidishuddhi is dealing with the pure, to purify, all right? Now, when you're dealing with the purification, this is mercury. This is also the element of ether. This deals with the body elements or the body organs of the throat, the thyroid, the vocal cords, of course. right? Blockages could be lies, suppression, fear of speaking truth. You know, it's the reason why a lot of people lie, y'all. Block throat chakra. It's a lot of reason why a lot of people are afraid to speak the truth. Block throat chakra. Whenever that throat chakra is blocked, you know how you get that lump in your throat, or you don't say some shit. Where you think that energy goes? Right back and down into the sacral. Now, here come the fertility issues, the kidney infections, the urinary tract infections, the feelings of shame and trauma or emotional repression. You see how all the chakras are connected. So when you deal with thyroid issues, sore throat, speech disorders, all this equates to an imbalance throat chakra. Now, the third eye, the agna. All right, this is going to deal with the planet Jupiter and Neptune. This is also going to deal with light and thought. So this energy manifests a lot through the pineal gland, the eyes, and the forehead. So that being able to break illusions, right, or people who are stuck in illusions, right, in denial, all that mental rigidity, right, even the ailments dealing with migraines, insomnia, hallucinations. Y'all, any of y'all dealing with this? Of course, put a 6 in the chat. Throat chakra issues, put a 5 in the chat. Heart chakra issues, put the 4 in the chat. All right. Because all we're gonna do is help you clean this up. All right. That's what this is about. To help you get, because if you get a better understanding of it now, you gotta have some tools to go in here and remove this energy, which becomes a practice. All right. Now, when you deal with the next chakra, we're gonna deal with the crown, right? Now, this deals with the Sahasrara. Now, when you deal with the planet Uranus and Pluto and the cosmic consciousness, the brain, the cortex, the nervous system, this deals with disconnection, spiritual crisis, right? Depression, neurological issues. So anybody dealing with any neurological issues, numbing of the hands, the feet, your nerves are just bad. You gotta smoke. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. You know what I mean? So habitual things could be nervous issues, right? So when you deal with the crown chakra, it doesn't have any structure here. The crown chakra is saying, "I'll knock all this shit over." That's why Jesus knocked all the tables over and shit. All right. So when you deal with the earth star chakra, which is 12 to 8 inches below the feet, now this also deals with a lot of planetary energy when it comes to, um, when it comes to purpose and grounding and all that good stuff. Because now when you know who you are, you get to walk in that, right? So when you're talking about that feeling ungrounded, right? Because now you're talking about the earth's grid. When you're feeling ungrounded, it's a chronic fear. Right? Somebody always afraid, always doing, saying, what about this? What about this? Who is that? What, you know what I mean? So this is coming to real life issues that can show up as people who people who float in spiritual bypass, but avoiding grounding, right? You know how sometimes people can be like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. You like, when is you gonna slow down and just feel some shit, right? A lot of people spiritual bypass because people come to the spiritual community while you start learning shit like this and you think that it don't require that you still feel some shit. Knowing is just half the goddamn battle. All right. So the soul star chakra want to deal with 6 to 12 inches above the head. So it deals with the galactic center. It deals with Uranus. It also deals with soul memories and past lives. So this is also going to deal with blockages of lack of purpose, right? When you're talking about a man without a purpose will drive him insane. So when you're talking about a lack of purpose, this dwells heavily, all right, in this soul star chakra. Right? So having to find that purpose and move within there, that's why you will see a lot of Uranian energy deals with the awakener. Right? That's the planetary placement or the mantra for Uranus, the awakener. Now, when you deal with the higher heart, is what this is. You probably done heard a lot of people talk about it's a higher heart. Yes, it is, right? And that's the thymic chakra. All right. And it has a lot to do with the planet Venus and Neptune. Now, it's about unity and forgiveness. That's what that chakra is about. Now, this is Christ consciousness, right? So you might not find the right people who are people who are actually tapped into going through all of these top chakras, and here they are landing at this gate of the higher chakra. So when you talk about moving through the soul gate, it is a very powerful one to move into. But this higher heart is something that we gotta be mindful of, I would say, because we're talking about judgment, self hate, right? Now, autoimmune issues, right? The body attacks itself. A lot of us have experienced, even within ourselves or somebody that we love, that have autoimmune issues, right? Even repeated karmic cycles with no explanation. I don't know. I just did it. I don't know. I just did it, you know? So people get caught up in the loop with this, all right? So when that autoimmune system hits you or comes into play, you talking about, I don't know what I'm meant to do, right? This is going to deal with the apathy, the burnout, right? So the soul mission, ignition is what this is about. So moving in that place is very powerful to do, but it's something that we can all achieve. All right. And it's just like, coming back to do this again or now. Do you want to complete this loop? You want to complete this gate? Do that mean am I gonna do what I know I'm meant to do? That's expressing my energy centers to their highest expression. All right. So for relaxing, dealing with real life examples of some of these chakra blockages, the right or the tight shoulders, that's gonna be a blocked or a minor chakra that's gonna be near the clavicle. Struggles with truth and expression is what you're gonna struggle with. If that chakra, that energy, if you're feeling like that is a lethargic energy in that area of your body, that could be what you're dealing with. The chronic fatigue for the healer with chronic fatigue, underactive earth chakra, right? We talking about somebody that's not rooted, or too empathetic, right? Or poor emergency boundaries. So this can show you a lot about when you're talking about how to unblock yourself or how to unblock when you're talking about stomping ancestral healing with red foods, sacred womb, massage and dance and water rituals. You deal with the solar plexus. This is going to bring core activation through breath of fire, journaling triggers. On the fire breath, you can kind of breathe in fast, in and out real fast for about 9, hold it for about 9, and then breathe out for about 12 or 18. So that kind of helps you keep the fire breath a little activated there. Now you also deal with, some people might be familiar with the Ho'oponopono, very powerful saying, very powerful Hawaiian culture mantra, which is very big on. It's kind of a Sanskrit word too because it has a meaning behind it. All you have to do is chant the word, and the word kind of take care of itself, especially if you're present to speak it. Now, when you deal with the crown, okay, let's see. Third eye, darkness, meditation, blue lotus tea, even the crown, silence, nature, right? And also fasting is going to open up that crown chakra. All right. Now, anybody got any questions about what I just went over? All right. Now, of course, when we're dealing with this overview of these chakras, we're dealing with a powerful gateway into the baseline of our being. And as you can see, when you're dealing with grounding and survival and ancestral stability, the body, bones, the spine, the feet, the colon, all that is dealing with the root chakra. You deal with the fear of blockages and instability, poverty mindset. This is also alignments dealing with fatigue or at the arthritis. Earlier, like I said, lower back pain, constipation. Somebody who keeps losing their job and developing sciatica into ancestral root healing help to ground her purpose. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of time we witness a lot of self losing a lot of things in scarcity or in lack. And in actuality, these are lessons or energetic expression to help us open up these chakra centers because without them, energy must or will not move. So the solar plexus or the manipura, right? You talking about the liver, you talking about confidence, willpower, ego, the identity. Even with this solar plexus, even somebody who has what do they call that? Gastric issues, right? Things with the digestive tract. One of the main things is sometimes when you're dealing with a lack of willpower, right? So even within the sacred, you can have a lot of over sexualized energy here, right? Even a lack of creative energy. It's hard to create when you're drowning because if the root is off 9 times out of 10, the rest of these chakras or the rest of these energy centers are going to be off as well. Because if you're not grounded, everything you're doing is in survival, right? Because you're hoping that you don't lose something, right? So this hope and this dream begins to kick in. So when you dealing with, let me see here, coming into this foundation of these chakras, After the solar plexus, of course, now we got the heart chakra again. But let's just say I want to go back into the solar plexus because the summertime is here. So a lot of people could be experiencing burnout, right? Now, if you're doing instead of being the solar plexus, you could be solar plexus driven. A lot of people are heavily driven by the solar plexus, mean they always will themselves into doing shit. Now this can be like, you know how somebody don't go to sleep until they burn themselves out. Or somebody been like, I've been up for 2 days and now I'm finally tired and shit like that. Burning the system out is gonna be heavily connected to the solar plexus because there's a lot of scarcity. There's a lot of I'm working hard, I'm willing myself into that. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing to kind of keep yourself going or whatever the case may be, but giving your body some rest is some powerful shit. All right. Now, whoever it is, can you mute your mic for me? Thank you. Now, when you deal with the heart chakra, all right, you're dealing with the center of the chest once again. We know we're dealing with love and all this good stuff. Now, the heart chakra is a very powerful chakra. All right. When you bring in the heart chakra, I begin to see a lot of parts of the heart chakra playing out. The heart chakra, you can watch the heart chakra do a lot of different things when it comes to how people operate within love and care. All right, I'm about to get back to the screen, y'all. Now, when you dealing with operating in love and care, now can y'all see my screen still?
Oh yeah.
I bet. All right, so the heart chakra, grief. Us as a people, man, we hold on to a lot of grief, man. Our heart chakras are very, very. We can go through a lot of shit, as a people with our heart chakras. The compassion, the forgiveness, dealing with the heart, the lung, the thymus, the circulatory system. The most leading cause of disease or cause of death in the United States of America is heart disease. All right. So grief, heartbreak, isolation. I mean, I'm gonna tell you how dynamic this is, how energy. Somebody dies, you like let's just say, and y'all might know people who have done this, right? I know a few couples who did this. The spouse dies, and a few months later, or even a couple months later, even sometimes a year later, the other spouse dies, right? Or even when you watch somebody that gets so now, how many of you now? I might be rare for some of y'all because this don't happen a lot amongst our demographic, but we end up fighting and stuff. But sports, okay, just showing you how connected emotionally people are to stuff. So, do you know that heart attacks and most of the time that people die, those rates spike around sports events, especially major sports events? We have the NBA finals coming up. I want y'all to pay attention to what's going on, even within the whole NBA playoffs, right? And a lot of y'all might be from some cities and some states to where the playoffs have been happening. How many people that y'all know are too emotionally connected to these teams, or can you recognize that it's you? The team going through something and your heart over there reading you, somebody about to have a heart attack, high blood pressure, because the team is so emotionally driven. See, that's all I'm saying. We feel. That's just what we do as the people. And they be like, I'm empathetic, I'm an empath too. I'm an empath too. I'm an empath too. Right? So learning how to govern this heart chakra is powerful because it can save your life. Like literally. So remember we talked about asthma and immune disorders and chronic grief and asthma healed through forgiveness and working with rose quartz and breath meditations. I've done that. That real life example is because I've actually done that, right? And I have a testimonial from this lady that'll show it to you, right? Somebody was lit and she had a lump on her breast too. And wearing a rose quartz inside of her breast helped her lump go down. So when I talk about these things, this ain't shit that I've just read about, right? So when you get into the throat chakra, of course, even though we talked about this earlier, but truth expression, authenticity, the thyroid, right? How many women have thyroid issues? How many people had their thyroid removed? All right, the thyroid deals with governing your immune system. The thyroid deals with a lot with governing the way testosterone and estrogen can be governed. So you're dealing with an energy center here. And it's more than just energy center because there's an organ, there's a time, a place. All this is attached to this energy, which is in your body. So the thyroid imbalances, even lies and fears, we talked about that earlier. Even dealing with some of this stuff about the third eye. Because even as a public speaker with chronic laryngitis uncovers as a past life valve silence or some shit, but reclaim their voice. There's a lot of people that sing public speaking. They like, I always catch laryngitis. There's something within the energy body that you're removing. Think about any time you use your throat or you use your voice, and it's like your throat get a little drained. And y'all been seeing that meme go around saying, the more you speaking up for yourself or whatever you're doing, that you're liberating the ancestors who couldn't, because they're talking about memory. See, a lot of time we speak these things and we're not even aware that what we're talking about to the depths or to the core of it. That is memory you're releasing, you're removing. All right. Knowing damn well your mama probably didn't speak up for herself, or your grandma probably didn't speak up for themselves, or your father, they just put their head down and kept going to work, or they just put their head down because they didn't want no trouble, or these are expressions. You watch this. This energy never died, right? How can we honor the fact that we look like our great great grandmothers? We look like our great that boy look just like grandmama, that boy look just like granddaddy, but then you won't honor the fact that they might be carrying some of grandmama and granddaddy emotional baggage either. Some of that memory. See, y'all call it emotions. I call it memory. We're only expressing it and experiencing it through an emotion. Something has to move. All right. So that's why the throat chakra, when you get into these higher chakras, just pay attention to these higher chakras. All right. Just look at the lower chakras and how they can be healed through movement, through eating. You get what I'm saying? Through kind of just feeling some shit, going back into your childhood work. You get into these high chakras, you gotta wheel yourself up in here. You gotta be willing to speak. You gotta be willing to say some shit and use your vocal cords. You gotta be willing to open up your mouth. You gotta be willing to see things beyond your own perception. You got to be willing to trust your intuition. You got to be willing to move up, even when everybody else making you question and making you doubt. Even if you might think you losing your goddamn mind. The migraine headaches, the eye problems, the insomnia, right? Because now all this is moving you into the crown, which is the top of the head, the cosmic consciousness. So that crown chakra is where all this is going to stop. The crown chakra saying, I no longer want to adhere to structure, right? I no longer want to adhere to what to think and how to think, right? The brain, the nervous system. Bliss, enlightenment. See, love leads you to bliss and enlightenment. That emotion of love, your love for something, your love for life, will take you higher and higher, baby. Right? So when you're talking about depression, apathy, even seeking, it's like a seeker stuck in the middle over over intellectualizing, found in pieces or found peace after integrating spiritual practices with earth-based grounding. See, because sometimes people get in that goddamn crown and you become so heavy into where you know earthly good. So when you're dealing with how this all ties into the 114 chakra system, is because there are entry port into this, right? So each major chakra branching into minor chakras, joint base, thymic energy, right? Micro chakras, DNA, memory encoded fascial points, and even the glandular gateways, which is the glands in your brain, remember? So we're dealing with the transpersonal chakra above the head and the feet, and with the soul star chakra, the earth star chakra, right? So remember, this is our memory. So even just based off today, a lot of y'all should not be able to leave here and not ever have somebody try to talk basic about a chakra to you. You gonna know they don't know what the fuck they talking about. They just done read Google or some shit. Cause a bunch of this information you won't find on Google, I promise you. All right. So when you're dealing with what this means, full chakra awareness allows for karmic clearing. Because remember, I told you when you come out of the shadow work, when you're ready to illuminate some shit. Cause now, based off of this, I want to answer a question real quick. Is it about dispelling the shadow, killing the ego, or can you get rid of a shadow? Can you get rid of the ego? Or do you have to integrate yourself with it? Is this an integration or are we getting rid of something?
Integration.
All right, thank
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
you. Cause can you get rid of memory? Can you get
No.
rid of the fact that your mama is your mama and her mama is her mama and her mama is her mama and her mama is her mama? Your dad is your dad and his dad is his. Can you get rid of any of that? You can't get rid of none of that memory. But what you can do is choose to integrate into that by transcending it. So once you got the full karmic awareness of it, you know how to clear the karma. It's just that simple. You don't have to be a byproduct of something when you mentally, because your mind is now going to say, okay, big. So this is coming from this. Now, this don't mean you drown in the trauma. You start to live in it or swim in it. Because now the soul retrieval happens. You start to pull parts of yourself back into one timeline. It can feel like we fragmented. And you with a lot of people in the spiritual community. You reach a certain place after you done gathered so much information. You done took on this, you done learned this, you done did that, did this. And then before you know it, you find yourself saying, what am I supposed to do with this information? Because if it's just me trying to look at some outside way of using it, this is an internal shift. So this allows for quantum healing. You see? See, all of this awareness of opening up these memories is opening up petals of the chakra. Remember, each chakra is a petal now. Now, remember each chakra, the four petals all the way up to the 1,000 petal lotus within the crown chakra. These petals, you're blossoming. We call it layers. Don't we always say we got layers? There's layers to this. People say healing is linear, right? It's not. Healing is not circular. It's linear, right? So when you deal with these linear, what is linear? If what is lunar? The moon deals with the oceans and the water is 72% of your body, which we know is memory. Where you see water, you see life. The moon links you to your mama, the mitochondrial DNA. So what are we talking about here? So either way it go, when you're talking about leading to your energetic sovereignty, this is the gateway to it. I'm telling you how I use this, man. I ain't selling you a dream here. I'm telling y'all some real. I ain't really trying to sell you shit because me honoring and learning, especially when I began to say, okay, I have an earth sign as a sun. I got a fire sign as a rising. I have a water sign as a moon. My big three is all three of the elements. So at certain times, I can feel a little turmoil and little fiery, a little emotional, and a little like fuck this shit at the same damn time with the earth sign. See? So when you start to equate this to say how many earth signs or how much Gemini earth sign energy do you have in your chart, what is linked to this? Now I'm gonna get into this as well. All right, but I wanted to just kind of touch into that because when you're talking about understanding these energy centers and how to deal with the energy body, now it's knowing what to do and when to do it. Like, how would you now just imagine you learn these meridians and now you know how to stick your body or hold your body a certain way or pinch yourself a certain way or push yourself in a certain area to help you release a little tension, right? Or how to position your body a certain way when you get nervous or how to just do a mudra to help your system calm down. How to just take a deep breath, visualize the color, because you say my sacred chakra acting up. See, it's a lot of words. I know this shit sound like a lot of robotic ass shit to a lot of people, but I'm telling you, imagine if we grew up knowing our chakras. Imagine how less emotional trauma your ass would have dealt with if you actually knew why you felt the way you felt and you wasn't just blaming somebody else for the shit. I'm just telling you, right? So there's also something else I want to tap on tonight called the chromatic scale. Now, anybody want to ask any questions on this part
I
about
have a
everything I
question.
just talked about? Go ahead.
So, with the root chakra, if it's blocked, would you know if your other chakras are blocked too? Or because your root chakra's blocked, you can't even tell if your other chakras are blocked? I just want to make sure I understood that correctly.
Now, that's a good ass question because I imagine because energy is moving from up the base of your spine, right? Right. We got the root chakra here.
Mm-hmm.
Now we dealing with somebody who's in survival or whatever the case may be. The root chakra blockage, the lower black pains, the fatigue, the arthritis, and somebody's not cleaning up a lot in the home, or we know you dealing with some root chakra issues. You can acknowledge that. Well, how will I know how this is affecting every one of my other chakras? When it comes to, let's just move up the scale here real easy. And I want you to go along with me. I'm just ask a couple questions. When you're dealing with, let's just go up, do you feel creative when you don't feel grounded or when you feel like you're not stable?
No.
Sometimes, yes.
All right. Do you feel sexual when you're not grounded or you're not stable?
No.
Okay. Are you actually seeking emotional pleasure when you're not grounded or you're not stable?
No.
All right. Now, when all this is happening, what do you find yourself doing? Do you have to will yourself into things to make things happen a lot of times?
Yes.
And then most of the time you find yourself probably not eating a lot or not taking care of yourself a lot, but you're getting a lot of stuff done though, right?
Yes.
And then it's gonna lead to feeling burnout and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's gonna lead to sometimes I feel shameful because I ain't make time for my family. I ain't do this, I ain't do that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now we say, all right, now let's get off into this. Now we start to feel a little isolation based off of all of this, right? Now I sometimes I need a break. Now I can be feeling like I'm heavy. There's something on me. Now I'm having all this chronic grief and I don't know where it's coming from. I feel like I want to break down and shit, right? You see what I'm saying? You see where we going here?
Yes.
And now my head is hurting and I got a little tension in my jaws and my shoulders are a little tight and I might need a little tea, a little peppermint or something every now and then, I just might need some fresh air or something, I just might want to yell or say some goddamn times or whatever the case may be. I just want to get something out, right? Now my intuitive part is suffering. Now I'm doubting. Right now, I'm just all over the place. I don't trust what's coming in front of me. Now, anxiety is kicking in. Right, I'm stressed the fuck out. I'm thinking about shit that ain't even happened yet. Now, I'm living in my goddamn head. So, you see how the question you asked was so dynamic because if you start from the root, which a lot of us, the root chakra, it deals with the first 7 years of our life. So, if we still holding on to things from when we were children, before you even knew who the hell you were, as a natural consequence, what would you say out of all those things I asked? What would you say would be somebody's most active chakra, and give me the other chakra that you think would be behind that? Anybody can do that now. Anybody can answer that question based off of what I just went through. What chakra would you think would be the most active in a natural human being's life that experiences most of the stuff that we experience?
The heart chakra?
Okay, I like that one. Any other one you want to add? Because look at the elements of the heart chakra now. Because what was the main thing I asked you, or what was the main thing I asked when I said when I got out of the root and I got out of the sacral? What was the next question? I bet you have to will yourself through a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So what chakra is that?
Solar plex.
Solar.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I love that because let's just stick with these two chakras. Look at the main issues that we deal with as a people. I ain't even talking about just as a black people alone. I'm talking about even just in the United States of America. In the world, fuck it, Craig, in the world, Craig. Right? Look at this. Confidence, ego, identity, liver issues, stomach issues, pancreas issues, which are diabetes, digestive issues, indigestion, gallbladder issues, all that type of stuff. Right? Power. People can be overpowerful, tyrants. People can feel like they don't have no power. Just think about the scale: shame, self doubt, anger, indigestion, ulcers, burnout, right? The heart chakra, somebody who got heart issues, lung issues, thymus gland issues, which deals with what? Your circulatory system and also governing your immune system. Empathy, everybody's an empath. So grief, heartbreak, isolation. How many people feel alone in this world? Even though everybody running around here in it with you, the trees are here with you, the ants are here with you, the birds are here with you, everything is here with you, but we can feel so alone in this world. So you see how us literally being locked in this root and this goddamn sacral. If somebody's eating, sleeping, and fucking, that's damn near a human being's life. Eat, sleep, fuck, go to work, get up, do that shit all over again. Make babies, it's survival. It's all lower chakra shit. So just based off of now, you got to think about if anybody would know how to block you, why wouldn't they start at the root? Do they gotta affect any other your other chakras if they got you in the root chakra, if they got you in the sacral? If they got you feeling and worried about your survival and your everyday needs and shit being met, do they actually have to do anything to these other chakras? If they know you're
No.
gonna feel every goddamn thing, naturally your third eye, and your crown and shit gonna be all the way out of whack, and your throat just gonna be fucked up, which is immune system issues once again. So yes, to simply answer your question, I know I said a lot right there, but as you can see, it's all connected. So if that root chakra is off, naturally every other energy center is going to have to overcompensate, and the main overcompensation is going to happen in the solar plexus, because no matter what, we still got to eat. We still want certain things that we like in this life, the sacral chakra. So this can why we would escape when it deals with the mind. We don't want to think about this shit. I don't want to think about another bill. I don't want to think about another this. I'm telling you, I'm right there with y'all. Okay. So did that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else got any questions? All right. Now, when you deal with this chromatic scale, do we have any musicians in the house tonight? Anybody into music, writing music? Any musicians in the house tonight?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Peace to the musicians. Now, I want y'all to feel free to chime in because y'all might get a lot of realizations after this, okay? Now, because what I'm going to do, there was a scale, a grid that goes into this. I'm going to kind of go over it in my notes, all right, because the picture wouldn't fit. But I will also make sure that y'all get that scale, but at least you'll be able to see it, all right? But I still kind of break it down here. So, I want y'all to think about the 12 harmonics, even with the dealing with the scale, the 12 half steps, right? Even what they call those in music, right? You got the 12 zodiacs, you got the seven primary chakras, the colors, the planets in astrology, right? Of course, we got the root, the red. This also corresponds with the first house. Now, I'm giving you a key here. I'm giving you a key to your harmonics, all right? So if you really look at this and you could look at your birth chart, okay? A strong Mars or Saturn placement is somebody who's strong, rooted, and grounded. Somebody with a challenge or a Mars or Saturn placement can deal with a lot of fear and instability. A lot of planets in your first house is natural survival instincts. Pluto in the first house, people. Neptune in the first house, people. You know what I mean? So there are certain aspects that you can even look in your birth chart to tell you why your chakras and your energy centers operate the way they do. All right. So of course we got the symptoms that are down here. Even when you tap off into wearing the color red, walking barefoot, root vegetables, Capricorn, Aries, rituals kind of deals with where you are within the chromatic scale. Now, when you're dealing with the balancing the tools, it's kind of one of the most powerful things you want to do because of the block symptoms of fear and anxiety, lower back pain, disassociation. So now, how you can deal with these pains, how you can eradicate these pains, right? Simply by honoring how to tap into the energy. If you could tune into the frequency of an ailment, want to change every goddamn thing? Don't you think they have what they have tuning forks for? They even have certain hertz to go with each organ, right? So imagine you knowing how to go right into nature and listen to a certain bird or go into a certain area and you know exactly what to do and how to kind of do it with a breathing technique, with a certain focus and meditation to help this energy center or this physical ailment move. All right. Now, if you go into YouTube, there's a lot of practices where they done showed how this works. All right. You're gonna have to go into the Eastern cultures because that's the only place they're gonna show it. Now, the sacral chakra, that fluid, that sensual creative, of course, that's gonna deal with the connection to Moon and Venus. Now, this has a lot to do with Libra, intimacy and pleasure, and Scorpio and transformation. So people heavy with these placements, right, are gonna be heavy with this energy. So remember, if you have this as a sun sign, all right. So just think about this in relation to those of you who are familiar with your birth chart. And those of you who might not be, but you're familiar with your birthday, which has a sun sign. So you can just use that in relation to what I'm going over here. So anytime you have water trees, this is going to deal with fluidity and block water. All right. So this can tell you a lot about how to reach your sacral chakra in your birth chart. Right. So the block symptoms of shame, if you deal with a lot of shame or a lot of reproductive issues, or even a lot of addiction, a lot of rigidity. All right, this can tell you a lot about why you have the sacral chakra issue that you have. All right, if you're somebody that has dealt with this throughout your life, all right, this can tell you why, especially once you marry this information with your birth chart. Now, this is what I'll be teaching. All right, this is what I teach in my Reiki course. So as you can see, this is not just an average teaching here. I want you to see how this energy makes sense in your life. I'm not just teaching you this to help you go out here and go heal somebody else and make money. This can help you remove generational trauma and heal yourself and open up your own energetic body. All right. So when you're dealing with Jupiter, strong expression, the solar plexus is very powerful, especially when you're dealing with the sun and Jupiter and Mars. These are the planets that light you up. Leo, ego, leadership, Sagittarius, truth, Aries, will. Right. So if you see the power of these energies, you'll see how they show up. All right. Now, when you deal with some of the functions, dealing with willpower, confidence, self-esteem, the inner fire, right? The sun sign and what house your sun sign is in is your identity and expression. Like my sun sign is in Gemini and it's in the house of Libra. And as y'all can hear, I express myself with a lot of Libra and Gemini energy, right? Very balanced, very harmonic. I speak from the heart, right? Strong throat chakra, you know. Now, this didn't just come overnight now, you know. This was a whole process to get to this shit, you know, because I remember times when I used to be scared to speak. My voice would shake, you know what I'm saying? My hands would get all sweaty and shit, you know. So I've been through all of the normal motion that everybody have, okay? So I know what that's like to have those experiences and have those blocked chakras and shit. And then once you begin to move them, you can feel that flow of energy flowing through you. It can even change the way you speak. It can change the way your eyes, the eye color of your eyes. It can change the walk. All right, a lot of things can change once you deal with the DNA structure of you and the expression of memory that is connected to your DNA. And that's why I always say that your body has more memory than your mind ever could. So of course we talked about digestive issues, the self-worth, victimhood, those sun gaze and core reaffirmations, yellow crystals like citrine, of course the heart chakra, you're dealing with the fourth or the seventh house, all right, fourth and the sixth, because you're dealing with now Cancer, and also Libra, right? These are your relational focuses. All right, Cancer is kind of where you initiate into everybody else's feelings to start to feel everybody else's shit. That's why Cancer is the mirror. Libra is where you balance all that shit out. All right. This also kind of deals with aspects in astrology, which deals with trines and sextiles, and all these things can be equated to like F sharps and C flats and all that good stuff, which I'll kind of tap into in the grids that I get into in a few minutes. Now, of course, when you deal with the throat chakra, you're dealing with the color blue. You're dealing with this frequency of also dealing with the third, sixth, and 11th house. All right, which of course is going to be the house of Gemini, the house of Virgo, and the house of Aquarius. All right, so as you can see, this is the evolution of speech. How you analyze what you think, how you analyze to what you know. This is all where communication manifests. Right, so if you got strong placements or a lot of placements in your third, your sixth, and your 11th house, like my moon is in Scorpio in the 11th house. I have a Taurus stellium in the 6th house. All right. So when you deal with all these placements, it can tell you a lot about why your energy operates the way it does. And of course, you will learn how to break all this down for yourself. All right. So you'll learn how to not know. Now imagine you got a child, or if you do have a client, all right, and you really want to develop something interpersonal for this client's energy work. This is how you do it. And a lot of you who have taken my 4 week mentorship courses, and also my 9 week course and things like that, you've seen me develop programs for you specifically made for your energy. And with this knowledge, this is how I did it. All right. So if you understand how to apply this knowledge to somebody's life, you can literally specifically design an energetic blueprint just for that person after you've done it for yourself. All right. Now remember, these are the things that you'll be learning inside of this course. Okay. Now, when you're dealing with the third eye, the Agna, this has a lot to do with the first, the eighth, and the 12th house. These are your psychic sensitivities. All right. Of course, Neptune in the first, the eighth, or the 12th has a lot to do with that. My Neptune is in the first. All right. So if you even have Neptune in Aries, Neptune in Scorpio, or Neptune in Pisces, or Neptune in either one of these houses, you have a strong Agna, right? So even with a Pluto aspect, Pluto in the first house and things like that. Those type of people would have those powerful third eyes, those powerful agna. Now this can open up a lot of issues to seeing death and a lot of different things as well. People like this can have a lot of experience that might scare the shit out of somebody else, but it can seem normal to them. All right. So if that's you, just put a 7 in the chat. Okay. Now, when you're also dealing with this energy coming into the third eye, you know, that Neptune in the first, and also when you bring in the ninth or the 12th house aspects, that's the spiritual insights. That's the house of Sagittarius and the house of Pisces. This is why Sagittarian people and Piscean people are naturally intuitive. All right. So that's why you deal with a lot of these people that are Sagittarius and Pisces, which both are ruled by the planet of Jupiter. Anciently, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, but presently we give Sagittarius the ruling planet of Jupiter. But when you're dealing with the expansion and decalcifying the pineal gland, even the third eye through meditation, this is how you do it, through accessing the third eye and accessing your what do you have inside of these energies, right? What zodiac sign is with that? They can tell you what cell salt is with that, which can tell you why you would deal with the mental blockages that you deal with. All right. So I'm just telling you there's a science to even look at your chart, to look at your life, to look at yourself. Totally different from what you even know to look at it right now. It's just another perspective for us to unlock certain aspects about ourselves within our birth chart. All right. So harmonizing these through the birth chart, of course, you're going to look at any identifying dominant elements like earth, water, fire, and air. You're going to examine the planetary aspects like the sun, square, moon, inner tension, planetary dignities, right? Detriments, is it a defile? Anybody who just took my astrology course knows exactly what I'm talking about. Is it exalted? Is it a defile? Where is this planet in your house? Right? What energetic expression is this leading to? Right? And now you got a Venus and Virgo energy, somebody who has Venus and Virgo, service over self-love type shit, right? Now, even when dealing with the color chakra assessment, this can tell you a lot about how you can match elemental imbalances to color frequencies, right? Let's just say you got certain elemental imbalances inside of your chart, right? You might lack fire signs or solar plexus, right? That'll be a yellow deficit. Overload of air, overactive throat chakra, right? A blue energy, right? So that'll mean you will need something that'll supersede the blue, right? We'll go to green. You know what I mean? So every color has the opposite, right? You got primary colors, right? So we tapping into ways to kind of use colors in a whole different way when you truly understand them. Remember, this is just a part of my Reiki level 1. In level 2, we do a lot of the touching. In level 3, we go over more symbols. All right. So when you getting off into some of the practices dealing with Mars energy, even dealing with red breathing, root chakra strengthening, Saturn, Pisces, solar plexus energy, crown, dual alignment, and to release these spiritual repression. Because now, when you do certain practices, as you ground, as you breathe, right? Whenever you do like a plethora of different practices at the same down time, you bringing different energy centers into one. It's almost like cross training in working out. You know, anybody ever cross train, you'll do like a 10-minute workout, a 12-minute workout, you be done damn near touched every body part, right? Imagine you go through yoga, breath work, meditation. You've opened up every chakra center by just incorporating one practice into your daily motions, right? Just getting up every day, doing some breath work, doing some yoga, being intentional about some meditation, your chakras will start to vibrate on a different level. As a natural consequence of you just doing that shit. All right. Now I'm gonna go to this chart real quick. Now I'm gonna make sure y'all get this as well. I guess I'm gonna have to figure out a way because you can see I couldn't really get that in. And the way it shows up, it'll be too all over the place. But these are some of the key words like the root chakra, Saturn, Earth, Mars, for grounding, movement to be your medicine. The sacral chakra, orange, right? Yellow, the moon, Venus, Jupiter, water, fire, guilt and shine, creative empowerment and confidence is what you want to deal with. Creative flow, the sacral chakra, empowerment and confidence dealing with the heart, right? The throat, blue. This is the next scale I'm about to get into when I go back in. So if y'all want to, you can screenshot this now just for your own purposes, but I'll make sure that you get this. All right. But as you can see, the note C. All right. Now this is where I want my musicians to kind of pay attention. And if you see anything, I want you to just kind of let me know if anything resonates for you. So imagine you playing certain notes. You playing them in a certain way, right? In a certain intervals, right? 3 seconds apart, 6 seconds apart, one count, two counts. You get what I'm saying? All these can tell you about degrees. I'm giving y'all some real keys here. This is why music, people like John Coltrane, all right? Um, these people were magicians. Music is magic, all right? Music is harmonics. Now, this is why all of us can be like, that music really don't move me. That music right there move me. I like that music, right? Now, is jazz for everybody? Do everybody like jazz? They don't, right? Do everybody like classical music? No, they don't. Do everybody like rap music? No, they don't, right? Now, when you're talking about sounds and vibration and tonality, right? Now, how certain octaves or certain music hit your system, it can make you move. Am I wrong or am I right? You might not even like a song, but you can find yourself dancing to it. You might not even like the lyrics of it, but the beat does something to you. So now you can see how each chord on a musical note and why people would say rap music is influential on our psychology. All music is influential on our psychology, not just rap music. I'm gonna say that one more time. All music is influential on our psychology, not just rap music. And also, not just on our psychology, as you can tell, on our emotional body. Look at this. Right? We talking about how we have the key trace grounding, right? You talking about the theme, survival, sexual energy, structures like power, trauma, um, transmutation through the libido, right? You talking about flowing, feeling relationships, right? How a lot of people need to. You got a lot of Venus energy, a lot of Libra energy, a lot of emotional sensuality and intimacy. You have to have feeling relationships. Ask a Libra that. You understand? Like, cause now you're dealing with the letter or the note of D. All right. So this is what these notes invoke. Imagine now hearing one note in the key and then be like, damn, that's Venus. Damn, that's Jupiter. Damn, that's the sacral. Damn, that's the color yellow. Damn, that just hit my solar plexus. Damn, that was F sharp or F flat, right? A G flat, right? And you dealing with something that's sharp, it's almost as the same thing as an inconjunct or a quincux in astrology, because it peaks, right? Don't something short peak and don't something flat drop? Am I right with my musicians in the building?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I didn't want that for validation. I just want everybody else to realize that, because I don't know. I want to learn more about music. I'm gonna tell you straight up, because I know a lot about the chakras, but I want to learn how to put this into practice myself. I'm gonna tell you one thing. This is what I'm learning to practice. I literally want to write a whole song composed of intentional musical notes. I'm gonna tell you somebody that already does this, Erica Badu. Guess what Erica Badu sings in? She's a Pisces. Anybody that's in music, what note does Erica Badu sing the best? Anybody that into music to tell me what note she sings the best? Okay. But if you go check her, she does a lot of A's. She does a lot of A energy. And if you go look at her birth chart, of course, she's a Pisces, right? And she got a lot of water energy, right? And you'll see how she has a deep vision and mysticism about her. See, I'm just telling you how, even within certain musicians, you can go make this. I'm gonna tell you how I make this real. Go study certain musicians and then look at what tone they sang in. One of the key ones that tripped me out was John Legend. Go look at his birthday and then go look at the octave in which he sings in. It's gonna trip you out. So we all can have a natural octave that we can sing in. All right. A natural octave that we're connected to. All right. So I want to show that chart because it's not showing up in the PDF. All right. Now, of course. I'm going to go back into the PDF and show you how to interpret that chart. So, of course, the musical notes C to B represent specific vibrational frequency that align with the chakra energies. The color correspondence, each note resonates with the color frequency that activates a corresponding chakra. Do that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Of what we just went over, right?
Definitely.
Now, when we're dealing with the planetary rulers, each chakra node has a governed planetary whose influences can be either strengthened or challenge that energy, right? It's just like an opposition, right? Remember we talked about a flat versus a sharp, right? It's just like when you got the black keys on the piano and the white keys, right? And they scale. So it's a scale. Your birth chart is the same way. It's a scale, right? So when you deal with the archetypes, the signs associated with each planet give personality and behavioral tendencies to the chakra's functions. So the bridging notes, right? And you bring those that represent transitional energetic gates, great for healing blockages and initiating transformation. So you can see this with trines and sextiles, all right, things like that, especially in conjuncts and quincunxes, all right, and those are angles in the chart that are about 165 to 190 degrees apart. Okay, now when you're dealing with the application for this, right, the dominant planetary influences in your chart, match those planets right to the chakra they rule, right, by using this system. Now, when you diagnose the potential overactivity, the excessive color, right, or underactivity and the lack of color, that's when you tap into what deficiency or what chakra that you may have overactive. All right. Now, dealing with sound healing, using singing bowls. I'm just giving y'all this. Now, people who come to the people who choose to take the course, of course, you'll learn this and a whole lot more. All right. But I wanted to give you all something to leave with tonight for your time and your energy. I appreciate you all for showing up once again. And I'll put my cash up in the chat for anybody who's feeling generous. But it is $sensei 9. If anybody does want to send me a donation, a love donation, all right, I would appreciate it. And once again, if you do want to join the full class, all right, it is 555, but I will be giving out a discount for people who choose to join. And also, I may even, ask a few questions tonight, and somebody who answers it, I may let you in the class tonight for free. All right, so we'll see how that goes. I might give away 2 spots. Who knows? All right, my birthday coming up in 2 days. All right, so when you're dealing with sound healing, Mercury in the heart aspect, throat issues, right? That's gonna stimulate the G, the blue, with music or mantra. See, you see how mantras are even singing certain notes, right? See, this is why I want to learn, like, how to hit each note and how it sounds. That's what I want to learn. All right. I want to learn that when I hear a note, what it is. You know what I mean? And what octave so I can mimic it. The mind, we love to mimic shit. So once you start mimicking these notes and then you start honoring or knowing how to or how these notes apply to your chart or how your chart applies to this energy in a musical scale, oh yeah, it can change the way you use different modalities of healing. All right. Now, of course, when you're dealing with color therapy, wearing visual colors associated with your natal sign, your moon, or your rising. All right. That's kind of how you use those rulers to activate those energies, right? So a Pisces rising, ruled by Neptune, focus on F or green, avoid A or violet, compassion or spiritual insight. You get what I'm saying? Because it's like some of those colors might activate certain energies and have you feel a certain type of way. This is why certain people be like, I don't really like, every time I wear purple, every time I wear this, every time I wear this color, something happen. I feel like this. Colors can invoke energy. Energy can help create experiences. It's the reason why somebody look at you when you got on a certain color. Somebody compliment you or they'll talk about you when you're wearing a certain thing. Now, I ain't just speaking to the minds of people. I'm just telling you how you can use the energy to your advantage. That's it. Once you know how to use it. All right. So, of course, when you're dealing with the daily resonance and the practice, use the planetary days to focus on the corresponding chakra and the color. Monday, moon, the sacred third eye, orange and indigo. Tuesday, Mars, root red. Saturday, Wednesday, Mercury, throat, the blue. Thursday, Jupiter, solar plexus, yellow. Friday, Venus, sacral heart. All right. Saturday, Saturn, root, throat, bridge, red, indigo. Sunday, solar, crown, yellow. As you can see, the root chakra got 2 days. All right. kind of deal with that root 2 days. So that's dealing with that Tuesday and also that Saturday. So don't be surprised if you just so happen to always catch yourself wearing red on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Like I'm telling you how we naturally just do this shit. If somebody can look at this chart and say that you like, even if what's today? Wednesday? Who got on blue today? All right. Who decided just to woke up today and put on some blue? Somebody might have been intentional, but who wasn't intentional but just put on blue today? All right. It's kind of how you can see that energy playing out. Now, of course, when that first chart, distorted intuition, living with those real life examples, kind of what we tapped into earlier. Even with Mercury retrograde in Pisces, confused speech, suppressed voice, it just can show you based on certain placement. It's kind of what, of course, when you take the course, you'll learn exactly what your placements mean, because you don't just break down. Like, of course, if you took my astrology course, you watched where I gave you a packet to where you broke down your chart. Now you get the packet, and now you're using this to break down your chakras. All right. So you're married them with different notes, with C's and colors. All right. So now you're going to be able to color code your birth chart. All right. That's one of the added bonuses that I'm going to add on into this course. All right. So we'll cover a lot of this in depth when it comes to this course. I even did the like what signs and planets dominate your birth chart. These are what you can just take with you as a bonus for tonight. You can ask yourself or look at your chart with these questions. What chakras correlate to those rulers? Which musical notes do you resonate with or resist? Are you drawn to or repelled by certain colors? Which notes, colors might harmonize you? All right. So of course you'll be getting this course. You'll be learning about how to tap into the 114 chakras, the activations and the pathways. We'll be talking about the detailed planetary and elemental healing with some rituals. We'll be dealing with some somatic and breathwork tools. Because in Reiki level one, in my Reiki level one, I like to make sure that you heal your energy body first. That's the only way you're ever going to be able to truly practice or be a Reiki practitioner, in my assessment. A lot of other people got a lot of other ways they teach Reiki. A lot of other people got a lot of other ways they certify people in Reiki. But I make sure
You
that you
started
walk
breaking
away.
up for a minute, sister.
Huh? Say it again.
Started breaking up for me.
Okay, can y'all hear me now?
Yeah,
All
you
right, big.
good.
Okay, big. Now, what I was saying was, as you get off into the class, what you'll be learning is how to heal your energy body, how to deal with your chakras. I have a few people that are taking my chakra courses, and they always take more time than they thought, right? Because once you realize that you got root chakra issues, sacral chakra issues, solar plexus issues, heart chakra issues, throat chakra issues, right? You're gonna be a lot less more remiss, especially if you got some integrity about you, to just go out here and say you're ready to practice on somebody else. All right. So it's a natural consequence. It took me a while. One of the first things I did practice Reiki on was myself and also an animal, a cat. All right. So my Reiki level two is where we begin to practice on people, animals, things like that. But my Reiki level one, as you can see, this is just a glimpse off into it. So the Reiki level one will be 7 weeks. We'll be going over that as well. You'll be understanding the full planetary breakdown of the 114 chakras and the alchemical activations. We'll be doing some meditations. I'll be teaching you some meditations along the way because you're going to need these to help you regulate your energy body throughout the way. The whole thing about Reiki for me was learning how to regulate your energy body, right? How to remove these emotional blockages by simply learning how the energy wants to be expressed. Because sometimes we can do it our way, which is beautiful, right? But when there's a certain way the energy wants to flow, and you learn that way, and you know how the flow of your energy works, oh, it's like having the best tool to do the job. It's like if I come in and do a job and I don't have all the tools, and you come in with your whole toolkit, and I'm over here struggling, you're going to get that job done way a lot quicker than I will, and I mess around and never get hired again. You understand? So when you're talking about tools, these are just tools. This is not doing the work for you. This is not what Reiki is about. This is not what this course is about. All right. And it's not what anything that I stand for or teach is about. Anybody that knows me always knows that I stand in your own willpower, your own sovereignty. And without understanding my energy, I didn't know what my sovereignty looked like. I didn't know what it felt like. I was trying to think my way through it. This allows you to feel your way through your transformation. And that's why you become a conduit for Reiki Force energy. The experience that I had in saving a young lady's life, I can't tell you today how I did it. I'm gonna be real with y'all. All I know is I stood there and I opened myself up to be a channel for life force energy. I knew what I was feeling when I felt her because her body was cold, her head was limp, her body was lifeless, right? So I built up some chi because I practiced qigong and a lot of other things. I built up some chi, and it sounds crazy to a lot of people. I'm telling you, it is on my website. All right, I built up some chi, and they couldn't even explain it. They just said, God, you were just sent by God. That's all they told me. Right? I didn't, even somebody in the restaurant was like, what was that? Like, that was Reiki. He was like, hell no. Nah. He looked it up. He said, man, that's 1,000-year-old practice. He still didn't believe it. I'ma tell you how powerful it is. The man saw it and still didn't believe it, y'all. So when I'm telling you that we are conduits of energy, I witnessed it. I ain't saying that I'm the only one that's capable of this, right? I've trained a lot of people in Reiki. I've been to Sedona, to the vortexes. That's normally where I certify people in Reiki level 3. We go to the vortex in Sedona. Each one of my Reiki levels are 555 a level. But tonight, for those of you who want to join, all right, I will be giving you $111 off. Just let me know you want to join. And of course, that 7-week program or the 7-week course, you'll be able to pay the 444 over 7 weeks. Just let me know you were in here tonight, and I will give you the $111 off. And you can make your first payment. That will get you inside of the course, or you can pay in full or pay half, whatever the case may be. But you will have 7 weeks to pay off on $444. All right. And once again, this is open to you all who are interested. All right. Now, if you do feel like this information is something that you could benefit from, it's something that you're interested in, I just want you to put a 9 in the chat for me. All right. And if you learned something tonight, all right, and if you feel like this is something that you maybe can implement going forward into your life, all right, just put a 7 in the chat for me. All right. All right. Now, if you are somebody who's interested in taking the course at this time and you are ready to move forward, all right, I want you to put a 1 in the chat for me. All right. Now, if you're somebody who's you're interested in the course, and you might not have the funds right now to move forward, but you're interested because we will start on June 12th. All right, the course will start on June 12th. So if you are interested in the course, but you don't have the funds to start right now, but you might be ready around June 12th, just put a 3 in the chat for me. I'm just trying to see some numbers so I know what to expect here. All right. Okay, big. All right, beautiful sounds. Yes. So the course will start June 12th. We will be doing the course on every Wednesday and also Sunday nights. So it'll be like a study group night to where we'll go over what we learned. The actual classes will be on Sunday nights. The study groups will be held on Wednesday nights. All right. So they will all be recorded. Okay. They will all be able to be accessed by you. If you miss a day or whatever the case may be, don't worry about it. You always have access to me throughout the course. And of course, the course material will be uploaded, so you have access to that as well. So I'm interested, I really want to, give people this information, allow you to see how life changing it can be for you. I know what it's done for my life. All right. So with that being said, I want to take this time right now to answer any questions. Anybody got any questions about what I've went over tonight, or just any questions about the course overall itself? Any questions at all? I welcome them right now.
What are some root chakra practices?
Wow, some root chakra practices. Let's get you back over here. All righty. All right, where did we go here? Let's go here. All right, some of the root chakra practices: wearing red, walking barefoot, root vegetables like red. All right, one of the main things is also cleaning up. All right, like getting that body in motion. Even doing things like shopping, right? Just doing something that makes you feel secure. You know what I mean? Um, Also journaling can help out the root chakra as well. All right. One of the main things I did was I started wearing red and I got out in nature. It's kind of like the rest just happened naturally. Once I became aware that I had root chakra imbalances, I just began to honor what my body wanted to do. So even any procrastination or laziness, or if you're operating in an over exerted root chakra, if you're doing a lot of cleaning or you catching yourself overactive or whatever the case may be, being more structured, just allowing yourself to relax can also be another way to let the root chakra chill, especially if you're operating in an overactive root chakra. All right, that help?
Yes, I was writing it down. Thank
Are
you.
you good? hmm Anybody else got any questions?
So this whole thing that we went over today will be getting in a PDF.
Yes. Yeah, y'all will get that back with the recording. You'll get that back sent to you with the recording. Anybody else got any questions?
I have one. Also, I
Okay.
wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. How do you go about doing your birth chart when you don't know your time of birth?
There is an app called Time Passages that I use. There's a couple of websites that are popular, like Astro Matrix and Astro Seek, and a couple of different ones, Star something. But there's a couple of different sites that you can use. But I personally use an app called Time Passages. All right, and I actually share that in the chat real quick. Let me get over here in this chat. So there's an app I use called Time Passage, and all you would need is your birth time, your city of birth, all right, and of course your date and all that good stuff, and then that will allow you to access your birth chart. I also just put my cash app in the chat as well for anybody who is feeling generous. All right. So did they help you out, beloved?
Yes, thank you. I'm looking at this app right now.
Oh, no problem. You're welcome. Anybody else got any questions? All right, beautiful souls. I appreciate you all once again for your time, your energy. And if nobody has any questions, I will let you all go. All right. Would say what happens during what happens during a religious season session? A Reiki session. Oh, okay. Already. So during the Reiki session, good question. Appreciate that question. The Reiki session, what I've learned is they all are individualized. No Reiki session that I've done has been the same. Are you good, Denise? Appreciate you. No Reiki session that I've done has been the same. The Reiki sessions meet you where you are, right? So Reiki sessions basically help to recalibrate your energy centers. Everything we talked about as a Reiki master or a Reiki practitioner, I'm able to go in there and feel your energy centers in a way and help to remove any lack of flow. All right. So any blockages that I can feel, of course, now y'all can tell when I feel the energy center off, I know exactly to tell you what to do and what's off. That's the power of learning my Reiki level one. So through my Reiki level one, you're able to tell somebody exactly why you felt certain things in the certain areas of their body that you felt it, because now you know the meridians, you know the center points, you know exactly where this chakra, where this energy, this organ is located. There's a reason why your hand went over that place. Now, when I do it long distance, all right, one of the most powerful experiences I had long distance is because it feels like your body is right in front of me. You know how you ever feel the field of magnets and you just feel like this energetic field? Right? That's what it feels like from a long distance experience. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you feel an energetic field of the other person in front of you. Now, long distance can be a little bit more intense because it requires a lot more concentration. All right. It requires you being able to steal the mind a lot more than it does when somebody's right in front of you. Okay. So the long distance takes a lot more mental intensity and holding certain um mantras or certain mudras, and also um holding certain visuals or symbols. All right. So the Reiki session, one of the first things I get when people are done, I ask them how do they feel when they stand up. They say I feel light. That's the first thing they say, I feel light. So any heaviness or any like that on the body or whatever the case may be, you would definitely start to feel that released. All right. So anybody else got any questions?
I'm not even trying to be funny. Can I schedule a Reiki session with you before you actually start the classes?
Oh, of course. Anybody can. Yes, of course. And my Reiki sessions are 111. But based off you being here tonight, I'll give it to you for $99. All right. So you just let me know when you want to get it done. I'll get you scheduled. All right.
Okay, thank you.
So do you have my number?
Yes,
All
you
right, big.
you on speed dial.
Already, Jasmine. You already know. Hit me up and we're gonna make it happen.
Yes.
Anybody else got any questions? All right, so let me see who this in the chat. What it say? Okay, I want to schedule for my birthday. I will hit you. All right, bet that, Denise. Let me know. A lot of times people who get them done in person, we go to parks. Sometimes people like they want to get it done in nature. I've had people cry on me in the middle of sessions. It just depends on what your body's been holding on to. All right, but the energy is going to move. I've had people feel more laughter, and you know what I'm saying. Some of my thugs don't cry. Right? But it's like a lot of time when that energy gonna move, sometimes you can't dictate how it's gonna move. Even I can't, right? So I've had more sessions that get intense, to where it does get a little heated. The body does begin to respond. Everybody body responds to it differently, is what I've learned. So I won't tell you a certain thing to look for. What I will tell you is that you will feel lighter and your energy will feel more energetically inclined. All right. So anybody else got any questions? Yeah, she crazy. My thugs don't cry. Hey, what's up, Sonny? All right, y'all. Now, whoever was interested in starting or getting a payment started, of course, you're getting an early bird special. All right, so let me know, and I'll go ahead and get you started. All right, but definitely we will be starting on the 12th. Of course, that would be around the strawberry moon. All right, which would be a Sagittarius energy, which is a good time to start some teaching and start some higher illumination. So y'all know I don't pick these dates by circumstance. Okay, so. If y'all are interested, make sure you tap in. I want to get you all joined and get you all started. So once again, I ask again if anybody have any questions. If not, I will let you all go. All right, beautiful souls. I appreciate you all for your time, your energy, and all that good stuff.